All right, guys, we are back for another stage breakdown. I literally just recorded a whole 20-minute video and file corrupted and it didn't save. No idea why, but let's do it again. So let's do this for another. So this is stage 3 from November 26th Lipsa match. It's actually a really good match, but I'll let you guys watch and then we'll break it down. Made 2 big errors in this, as you'll see, but I'll let you go. All right, so let's break this down. Let's go back to the start. So right off the bat, we have 4 steel targets. And what I'm going to start doing is breaking down why I start, or why we start on a very specific side, and how we start. So for me, I like to start if I can, if I'm allowed to, depending on what the stage rules are. Stage rules are. This one you could stand anywhere in the shooting area, and I started on the left side because I transition from right to left faster than I do left to right. And it's not much, but it's enough for me to actually want to do it in a match where I yield better results. That being said, I started off with a mic on steel, and what I did was I moved to the next target, the steel target, and what I don't recommend you do, for you guys that don't compete, or even if you do compete and do this, but for the new guys, when you are shooting steel that it's in a row like this, or in a line, or in a column, don't go back and shoot the steel that you missed. Just continue on with what you need to do. In this case, I engaged the second steel target and then went back and engaged the first one. Because if you just wait to re-engage this, if you're fast enough, you could do it. I'm not fast. But most of the time, people wait for the ding, or like they'll miss and they'll just go back. Instead of just shooting the rest of the row, they'll just go back to shooting this. So when you're shooting steel, just move on to the next target or next steel target and go back and make it up. You could wait till the end, you could wait till after the shot, but sitting there and waiting, you're just burning time. You don't want to burn time. This is most of these stages are very time orientated, and time is the biggest factor of your hit factor on these stages, and you don't have a lot of time, especially with 10 rounds. So I come in, this is a window. This is pretty common at Lipsa. A lot of stages use windows. This window is actually pretty big. I'm a pretty tall guy. I'm 6 foot. So for me, my eyesight is up here. I think these are 6 foot barriers, actually, or 6.5 foot barriers. So my eyesight is up here, and I come in, I got to crouch, and which is great. Windows are great because it makes you shoot alternative shooting positions, and you have to engage at awkward angles, and it just teaches you a lot about your shooting at different positions and awkward angles that you have to do that. So they're awesome. So I come in, engage steel, pretty fast transitions, my normals. My transitions are not my weakest point. My weakest point, which I just found out recently, is my wrists. My wrists are moving on target, causing me to deviate from where I'm actually aiming, and I need to work on that. That is my biggest flaw right now in my shooting ability, and that's for me to stay in A class and make M class, I'd probably have to, work on locking my wrist out. But nonetheless, the biggest error of the stage is coming right up right now. Right there. So as you can see, I botched the reload really bad. Not even to a point where I had fumbled the reload into the mag. I actually just fumbled the reload. I'm sorry, not fumbled the reload into the mag. I fumbled the reload into the pistol, and you could see it's laying on the ground. And this was a new grip at the time. I had very little dry fire on it. I think this was the first match or second match with it. I'm not too sure, but either way, I didn't have enough time on this magazine, and I didn't make modifications to it at this point in time. So I botched the reload. That's just a combination of a smaller throat on the bottom, which I'm not really too fond of. Why Icarus did that? This is an Icarus frame. I will say, to be honest with you, has nothing to do with the match. Anybody that's interested in buying these Icarus frames for OZ9s, P320s, I think they have one for Staccato, 2011 style pistols, and they have one for the Echelon now. Um, like, this frame is, I don't know where they geared this to, whether it was duty, competition, but like, they seems like they geared it more towards sport shooting, and why they didn't make the mag well like wider or like they made it super tight where the angle is you have to insert your mag on like the perfect angle to get it in. And don't get me wrong, I'm not making excuses for my shitty reload because no doubt it was definitely shitty. But I don't like when companies make any product that's either this is like a combination of competition and duty. Like either gear the product towards competition or gear the product towards duty. Don't do both because then it's not going to work as intended for that very specific person specific purpose. And it's very annoying when companies do this. And I've had a ton of feedback and I've given them a ton of feedback. I'm not really the biggest fan of their company anymore, as their customer service is just utter trash and the machining of these grips is terrible. I've had to fix 5 of these already, and that's inexcusable for the price that these are listed at. And this is even a cheaper one too. But nonetheless, let's get back to the shooting. I got my reload in, mag is on the floor. I carry another mag on my belt for times like this because you just never know when you're going to have an issue on the stage. So you come in, I have a no shoot presented by two targets, move over to steel, transition to steel. So the 2 misses was for me moving. I planted and then I lifted my foot so I have a better shooting position. So my foot is not impacting the rest of my body, causing my sights to be off. So I just lifted my foot and I'm shooting off of one leg at this point. Come in, clean up on paper, reload, come in. So I have 2 no shoots and 2 steel or tuxedos, I should call them. Clean them up. So I came back to this target because I delted it. And I delted it because I was in my head, I wanted to get to this target as fast as possible. So I dropped. But I came back and I cleaned it up with an alpha. Now it happened to be my last shot. Now, would I recommend you doing that? If you're fast enough to do it, yes. And you know you did it, yes. And you have the time to do it, yes. But if you are slow and you have the slower time and you're just taking your time, do not go back and make up a delta to shoot an alpha. If you have a mic on the target and you know you mic'd it, make that up. You know, that's worth the extra bit of time. Obviously, don't run around half the stage to go make it up. But if you're in position to make up a mic, make it up because you don't want -10. I'm telling you, you don't want -10. And that's the stage. You know, my shooting overall was good. I could have did slightly better, but this is a better shooting stage. Obviously, my reload slowed me down and my misses on steel. Overall, I probably burned 2 seconds on probably. I'm gonna say I could have been 2 seconds faster, which is a significant amount of time. And I think the only reason I didn't shoot well or have a good hit factor on the stage is because of my time. My shooting was good. I remember looking, I think I had Alpha Charlie only on this. Needless to say, my shooting was good. I just had small mental errors. And I wouldn't even say mental errors. I just had small shooting errors. I think mental clarity was really good on the stage. Which I want to talk about, and this has nothing to do with this particular stage, but this has a lot to do with people asking questions about these stages and what gun they should bring. So I will say that when you want to come out and compete, you could definitely get away with a that is probably the smallest gun that you should be out here. And the reason why I say the smallest gun should be a Glock 19 is because of you could shoot a competition with a 365 or a Glock 43 or a Glock 48. Actually, I think the 48 has a longer barrel than a Glock. So you could definitely do it with a 48X or 48, whatever it is. You definitely should not be doing this with a P365 or any subcompact gun, simply because of the fact of there's not enough velocity for the ammo that you're shooting. And I know the majority of you watching this use 115 grain, and I wouldn't even use 115 grain on a full size duty gun to shoot these matches. I would 100% use 124, simply because of the fact that there's more knockdown power with 124 and the velocity is almost identical to 115 grain. So your bullet is heavier and it's flying just as fast, meaning you have way more stopping power to knock. The reason why I say is because people ask us if they could use their small guns on the answer. No. So the smallest gun I recommend is a Glock 19. Yes, you're not going to be the fastest with a Glock 19. I'm assuming if you give a Grandmaster a Glock 19, he'll be incredibly fast just because of. For me, my ammo, I use SMB 124, Federal 124, Federal Syntec 124, and I'm starting to experiment with Underwood ammo 9mm plus P plus, where I put myself in major, and major is a power factor above 165 or 160. And I am pushing that bullet at almost 1400 feet per second, which is insanity. I don't recommend you using 9mm plus P plus out of your standard gun, especially a carry gun. Your gun could potentially blow, and I don't want that to you. I don't want any of you guys to blow your gun up. Guns cost a significant amount of money these days. And if you blow a gun up using 9mm plus P plus, I can assure you that the manufacturer will not warranty your gun because it says in the manual not to use 9mm plus P plus. Most guns are able to use 9mm plus, and that's the extent of it, which is about 1200 feet per second on a 124 grain bullet. Now, that being said, if you do have a smaller gun and you want to come out and compete, do not use 115 grain ammo. You are severely limiting yourself for knockdown power on the steel. And the steel at longer ranges will potentially not even fall down. You'll hit them and they won't fall. Even the smaller ones, the bigger steel targets, way more, so you need more mass to put them down and speed. So if you want to come out and compete with a 365, I suggest that you use like 150 grain, 147 grain 9mm. It's heavier. Yes, it's traveling slower, but you'll hit the target harder. Just know that you will have a significant increase in recoil, and you'll probably have a good 20-25% increase in recoil going from 115 grain to 150 grain, 147 grain. It's a heavier bullet, and it requires more speed. Well, actually be traveling slower, but it's a heavier. I think the power factor is actually slightly higher on 147, 150. But for the guys that have full-size guns and you want to come out and compete and you've never done this before, just stick to 124 grain. Blazer 124, New Republic 124, Federal Syntec 124. Those are the lowest power factors of the bunch. Even PMC 124 is a power factored around 129, I think. And then Blazer was about 130. New Republic was about 127. And then Federal Syntec was about 131, which is really, really soft shooting. It's perfect. You can shoot in minor. You'll have the velocity and the power for the knockdown power. And you'll have fun. I just don't recommend doing this with a micro or compact gun unless you're doing IDPA, which is more geared toward self-defense stuff. But needless to say, I'm done. I'm giving you guys a single breakdown just because I gave you guys so much information today. Joe's not here to be part of this. He's a little busy. But that was a good breakdown of the stage. Good shooting, small dent errors. I just wanted to show you guys with what shooting errors look like with good mental clarity, and that's it. But I hope you guys come out and compete. I want to see more of you guys coming out and competing, more new guys. It's kind of boring competing against the same old guys all the time. And I understand that there's very limited spots available at LIPSA, but come out and compete. See how good you are. Put your ego to the side and come out and shoot, whether you do better. All right, guys, have a good day. I'm out. See you later.